Welcome back, everyone, to Build Your Brand. My name is Natalie LaPaya Pisano, and I am FBLA Arizona's VP of Public Relations. If you're new to this series, Build Your Brand is where we talk about how to build your own personal brand or image. Just to recap what we discussed last week, we talked about how to decide what your brand is and how to develop it once you have it figured out. In this episode, we'll be discussing how to outwardly present yourself to ensure that people are seeing that brand that you came up with. We'll also be discussing the importance of pitch, presentation, and reputation when it comes to your brand. So we know what our brand is. Now, how do we make sure that everyone else knows what our brand is? That comes down to three things: pitch, presentation, and reputation. First up, we have pitch. Just like a salesman has a pitch, so do you. Let's keep rolling with this salesman analogy. When somebody is trying to sell you something, what do? They'll tell you about the product or service. They'll tell you why they like it and give customer reviews to somehow persuade you to buy that product or service. So that's what you have to do. You have to pitch yourself in a way that makes others want to know more about you, maybe want to invest in you, just seem interested in you. You have to make sure that your brand is clearly communicated in your words. Showcase what you want others to think of when they think of you, whether that's responsibility, hard worker, great leader, anything like that. You have to make sure that that is clearly communicated through your words. Next, we have presentation. Tell me this. If a salesman was disheveled, wearing sweats, talking slowly, and sounding so very bored, would you want to buy something from them? No, you wouldn't. So as much as it's about the pitch, it's also about the presentation. How are you presenting yourself to others? Your appearance plays a huge factor in how people perceive you. And some people may think that's shallow, but that's the game. And what's the saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game. And you came to win the game. Me, for example, I am wearing a professional button-down shirt, right? And not only is it showing that I am professional, it also has the FBLA Arizona logo on it. So it's not only showing that I'm professional, but it's also showing that I am associated with an organization that is known for being something to respect, right? So that's giving me credibility and even helping show other people what my brand is without me even having to say anything. And that is why presentation is so important when it comes to your brand. Before we move on to our final part, reputation, let's take a minute to go over our brand new fact of the week.
Still not funny.
This week, our fact was brought to you by my dear advisor. If you remember from our first episode, we talked about Starbucks and their own brand. Well, here I am bringing Starbucks back. Did you know Starbucks actually has a trademark on the word Frappuccino? That's right. All the way back in 1994, Starbucks acquired the trademark to Frappuccino. That's why other companies use the term frap, or if you're Dutch bros, freeze. That is such a smart marketing move. Because now, when you think of Frappuccino, which is really just a type of coffee, a type of drink, you have to think of Starbucks because Starbucks has made it a permanent association with their brand. Finally, we have reputation. Reputation is unique in the way that, unlike with pitch and presentation, it is mostly out of your control. Your reputation is something that easily can be removed from your hands. Your brand is how people think of you, how they see you, and sometimes they already have an image of you in their mind from your reputation. So it is of the utmost importance that you ensure that your reputation is a positive reflection of yourself and of your brand. Your actions need to reflect what your brand is. And while we can't change our past actions, we can work on making sure that we are always putting our best foot forward in the future to ensure that our reputation changes into something that is a positive reflection of ourselves and our brand. And we have now reached the end to another episode. Just to summarize, we talked about the three parts of putting your brand into action. Those parts being pitch, presentation, and reputation. Next week, we'll be reviewing what it's actually like in a scenario when you're presenting your brand. We'll talk about ganappers, which I know ganappers sound weird, but trust me, it'll make sense next week. My name is Natalie LaPaya Pisano, your VP of Public Relations, and this has been episode 3 of Build Your Brand.